So we'll hop in. It's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. So let's begin. Before we get into your life of HR and being a leadership coach, I want to begin with the question I always start with, and that's the COVID question. How did you get through that era? It was 6 years ago. Things were changing. How did you get through it, and how has it changed the way that you approach life today?
It's great that you're talking about this because many people, including myself, kind of closed the door on that period and never really processed what happened there. So it was, well, there was a lot of uncertainty, there was fear, there was a feeling of helplessness because a lot of choices were taken away from us. Even though I'm from Bulgaria, the rules for us were not as strict as in many other places. But still, somebody was telling you where to be, where not to be, what to wear, what not to wear, which felt weird. Though, paradoxically, for me, this particular aspect of it, the removal of choice, was good because I like people, I like building relationships, but at the same time, I'm an introvert. And since my work has always been with people, I have very little energy at the end of the day. But right before the pandemic, I had built a lot of fairly new friendships, which meant that I was out 2, 3 times a week, uh, which was exhausting, but I couldn't stop it because I felt I would jeopardize the relationships. So it felt like a chore, not like something I'm doing for myself. And then the pandemic happened, and all of a sudden, I didn't have to do it anymore. So for me, it was kind of a relief in that aspect. And after that, I never went back fully to that packed social calendar as I used to. From a work perspective, it was a very, very busy time. At the time, I was managing a global HR shared services team, and there's a lot of work in HR admin at times like that, moving people to home, furloughs, everything else. All of my plans and strategies for the year went up in flames. The people were busy. I had just inherited some new teams that we had to rebuild because they were not doing so well. I had to rebrand um, my whole function because people didn't trust us a lot. There was also the people side. I had teams all over the world, and I had people in the US that struggled with the internet in the beginning. I'm not even going to talk about the craziness with the toilet paper. Um, but I had people in India that moved into their hometowns or villages with lived with their extended families. There were 5 people in a room. It was difficult for them to participate in meetings, to be on camera. So a lot of what we generally think about in principle, that you never know what other people are going through, in that time you actually saw it,
Yeah,
and it was very, very revealing.
it certainly was. Let's get into the work that you're doing today. And to do that, the best way to do it is to put you in front of a bunch of kids. They're 13 years
Mhm.
old, you're at career day, and one of the kids just wants to know what you do for a living. How do you explain your day job?
My son is actually 13,
Okay.
and I can say that I explain it to him very well. But the way I explain it to him is that I help managers be more successful and be happier in their work by helping them decide what is it they want to achieve, what their most important, most significant impact is, and then help them remove all the things that stop them from achieving it.
So, what did you want to be when you were that age? What was your dream job?
When I was that age, I first wanted to be a literature teacher because I had this very charismatic and wonderful teacher that I really, really admired. She passed away earlier this year and really shook me. But after that, a couple of years afterwards, I realized that I didn't like her for her knowledge in literature. I liked her because she was a very good psychologist. And at that time, I also met a few other psychologists that really had an impact on my life. And I decided I wanted to be a therapist. And I pursued that. I did a bachelor's in psychology, a master's in clinical psychology. I started working with autistic children. It was very rewarding and it completely broke me. I have an anxiety disorder. It flared up really bad to a point where I couldn't function at all because wanted to help them so much. And I didn't have a magic wand. I was so young and early in my career that I didn't really know what I was doing. So it didn't work out very well for me. And I decided to do a temporary detour in HR. I thought was do a couple of years in HR, go to therapy in the meantime, and then go back to psychology. But the best laid plans, HR kind of took me on. I got the opportunity to build global teams, to run global teams, and that was super exciting. And uh, and it was busy work, it was difficult work, but very rewarding work. And then at some point, I realized that I still miss the people part. I still have that need to help people grow. And I did it a lot with my teams. I still have people that reach out to me from time to time telling me that I had a huge impact on their career. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be where they are today. But it was a very small percentage of my time. And I decided to make it a full-time job. So now I'm a leadership coach and that's what I do all the time.
So, what were examples of leadership that you saw growing up that's been kind of a part of the way that you view leadership and help people get to a better place?
When I was growing up in Bulgaria in my formative years, you couldn't see a lot of leadership because communism fell apart when I was 7. So in those early days of my life, leadership was not a valuable thing. Leadership was not encouraged. Everyone had to be the same. Everybody had to listen to the party, follow the rules, not stand out too much. And this is actually something that I had to change about myself, and something that I had to transform years later because at some point I realized that I'm really not suited to the current world, to democracy, to capitalism, because I I was brought up in a very different environment. So yeah, I've learned it through experience and through seeing what are the things that are blocking me in myself. And one of the things that is was blocking me was fear, because in at that time in Bulgaria, security was praised and valued a lot more than initiative, than risk, than achievement. And when you value security, you're afraid to take risk. You're afraid to get out of your comfort zone. And so this is probably one of the things that I learned from there, that leadership requires courage. You can't achieve anything without courage.
So, speaking of that, leadership and courage, who has been that inspiration, that heroic force in your life that's allowed you to become who you are, helping people yourself?
I don't think there is this one person. Um, I At least not in those early years. It was, I think, at that time it was everyone who was trying to change, trying to adapt to this very new environment and very new rules. My parents definitely. My father, who had the courage to leave his government job and open his private dental practice, one of the first people in town who took that risk. And other people who took risks to actually um, explore explore what is it out there, how this new thing looks.
So, if you can meet one fascinating person on the planet right now, have a lunch with them, talk to them a little bit, someone that might help you on your journey, who would you love to talk to?
I'm an avid reader, so it would be writers.
Yeah,
Salman Rushdie, definitely.
yeah.
He's a great example of courage, but he's also a great example of very deep understanding of humanity in all its both darkest and glorious aspects. So I really, really admire him. Um, Fredrik Backman, he's a Swedish author. He has a lot of compassion for people, a lot of empathy, and that shows into his writing. So yeah, maybe authors that perceive people fully as they are. They don't try to gloss over the negative. Um, they kind of see everything and love it as it is.
So what is the energy for you every day to wake up to do the work that you do? Because it's not just like a regular job. You have people that you're helping. There's a lot that goes into it, a lot of strings that you're coordinating. What is that energy to not only do a good job for your clients, but to take care of your soul and your life? What is that for you every day?
It's that moment, uh, probably 4 sessions in when I work with a new client, because after the third session, I kind of feel usually a bit discouraged. Okay, we're talking about some stuff, there are insights that are happening very quickly, but nothing is changing. But after the fourth session, probably something shifts, some small behavior changes, something finally clicks not only as an insight but as actual application and practice. and and when I see their reaction, and when I see this in their eyes, okay, this is working, I actually can change, I actually can achieve those things that I want to achieve. That's what gives me the energy.
So before we got on, we were talking about Rainn Wilson from The Office, Dwight, and him traveling the world and going to Bulgaria and Iceland and different areas. And we were kind of talking about the struggles that Bulgaria has gone through. And now America, we're going through a lot of really strange things that I never thought I would see in my lifetime. What's your perspective over there on what's going on here?
Well, uh, like in America, in Bulgaria, people are divided. There are some people that are really supportive of what is going on and that still believe in this um, big authoritative figure that will change the world and that knows best. And I think there are people like this everywhere. People that want somebody to tell them what to do, want to feel that there is somebody who holds all the power and that will take care of things. But a lot of others are concerned because what happens in America happens to the world. And I have a lot of friends and colleagues in the US, and I actually feel concerned about them. But at some points, it's honestly ridiculous. I mean, there's some moments where you can't help but laugh.
Yeah. I now believe me, and I didn't vote for any of this at any point, so I am completely on the other side of having any of this take place. So I hope, to me, being on the inside, this is a template for what we don't ever do again.
I hope so too.
You
I
know,
mean, yeah,
it's just but it is. There's a part of it where you just can't even believe it, where you're laughing at the tragedy. It's unreal, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight and you ran into the 18-year-old version of you, and there was a film projector in the room and you hit play and there was a 60-second highlight reel of the life you've lived, would that young version of you believe your life turned out this way?
I don't think so. My 18-year-old version of me was very shy, lacked confidence a lot, and yeah, and would just sit in the corner. My 18-year-old version of me would never be on this podcast and would definitely not have done a lot of the things that I have done. So yeah, I think it would have been surprising for her.
So in that 60-second highlight reel, what are you the happiest about, the proudest of?
Huh. Well, the proudest from a professional standpoint is something that has nothing to do either with coaching or with the corporate job I had. It has to do with my first job with autistic kids. I learned, I taught one kid how to hop on one leg, and that was a huge achievement because that kid wasn't able to imitate and thus couldn't learn. So this was the first time ever that she imitated something that that somebody showed her, which backfired because it was my first session in the morning, so 8 a.m. I was, what is it, 23, 4 at the time, so I was out drinking every night. And the first thing in the morning, I would have to hop for an hour with the hangover and with everything. So yeah, but that's one of the things I'm most proud of.
Well, I got to tell you, my son's on the spectrum, and I deeply appreciate all of the help and the therapy and the and everything that you did with the kids. I've always been very appreciative of all of the workers that have been out there that have been helpful. So just want you to know that I'm appreciative, even though it wasn't my child. I've always felt a deep level of indebtedness because it's so necessary, especially early on when you hop on it and start doing therapy. It's so essential and important for them to kind of develop and mold themselves, into a stronger being.
I'm very proud. I was there for a very short time. I have colleagues from that time that are still there 20 years later, but it was the first therapeutic center for autistic kids in Bulgaria. So
Wow.
it was amazing
Yeah,
um, what we built and what they continue to build
that's wonderful.
onwards.
I
Yeah.
love it. So let me ask you this. Everyone has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I'm someone who is trying to challenge herself all the time. I I have learned that I don't need to be perfect at stuff. I just need to try and do stuff. It is something that I'm continuously working on and maintaining. I'm someone who is fairly smart, quite a bit socially awkward at times, and I'm someone um, who sees patterns and who can build relationships with people quickly and deeply.
So I want to end on a high note, Marta. I want to know, what is the greatest thing about living in Bulgaria?
Bulgaria is super safe compared to most other places in the world. Bulgaria has nice weather, still not too urbanized, and it's great for global roles because time zone wise, you fit, you overlap both with Asia and with the US,
Okay.
and your kids can grow in a place that is still a bit slower than the rest of the world.
Okay, I love it. That's great. So, if anybody wants to hire you, they have any questions, they want to reach out, any of the good business, where do they go?
LinkedIn,
Okay.
that's where I spend my time.
Okay.
Definitely, I'll be happy to connect with anyone and chat about leadership, Bulgaria, and anything else.
I love it. I will put links in the show notes. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your story. Best of luck with everything. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.